Hi everybody, welcome to January's calligraphy techniques video. I'm Miss Cristina, and I'm going to be showing you 3 different calligraphy techniques that can make your calligraphy stand out by looking 3D or like it has a drop shadow. So the techniques that I'm going to show you are going to get progressively more advanced, but they're all very easy to do and I think you'll enjoy all of them. So let's see everything you'll need. So you're going to need a pencil and an eraser. An optional item is a white gel pen. You'll also need some markers. I'm using Crayola Super Tips. You'll need some mixed media paper. Regular paper is fine as well. Another optional item is some tracing paper. And you'll also need a straight edge. Alright, get all your materials together, and then we can get started. So first I'm starting out by just making a quick outline of where I want everything to go. I like to keep the sketch really light so that it's easy to erase later. So you'll see I'm using 2 different fonts in this design, and that is just to give it a little bit of a variation and make it look a little bit more interesting. So you'll see that I'm making very broad and thick strokes here. This is to make the next part of the technique a little bit easier. Alright, now I'm going in with a darker color than I used initially, and I'm just adding a line to the left upper side of each stroke that I do. So I know that's kind of a weird way to put it, but this way it'll make sure that the drop shadow lands on the bottom right side of each stroke. It's a little bit confusing at first, and you'll probably second guess yourself on where to go, but don't worry, the more you practice, the better you'll get at this technique. And you'll kind of see even I'm going slow because I'm still unfamiliar with this technique as well. But overall, I really like it and I think it's really fun and effective. Alright, so now I'm just taking a gold, yellowy marker, and then I'm adding in the 2021 in the center. So again, I'm taking a darker color than I used initially, and I'm just outlining the top left side. You can see that I'm still new to it and I'm making mistakes too, but that's alright. Calligraphy is not about being perfect, it's about having fun and expressing yourself. I'm adding a little bit of a flourish in the same style as the rest of the calligraphy. Alright, let's move on to another one. So again, I'm starting with a light sketch, and I'm making sure that the placement is exactly where I want it to be. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to erase the pencil lines so that they're very, very faint so that I won't see them through the marker. And again, I'm tracing the top left stroke of each letter. And you can see I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with the technique. Alright, now I'm moving on to the next technique. So for this one, you're going to make block letters like you normally would. And this is where I would actually recommend to draw out your block letters first to make sure that your alignment is correct, because I didn't do that, and as you can see, it's a little bit off. But again, calligraphy is not about being perfect, it's about having fun. So as you can see, once I'm done with my block letters, I'm going to make tiny little strokes, little lines that are going in like a 45-degree angle away from each corner. And then I'm going to connect them, and then it gives the letters a 3D appearance, as you can see here. Next, I added little lines here, just to further emphasize the difference in the planes. So I actually ended up liking the way that the orange looked better, so I actually go over everything again with the orange because I feel like it stands out more that way. So here I'm adding little dots to the inside of the bubble letters to try to make it look a little bit like confetti and make it look a little bit more festive. So I'm doing the confetti dots in a couple different colors. I'm using the orange that we used for the letters, but also 2 or 3 different shades of yellow just to make it look fun and have a little bit of variation in it. To try to disguise my mistake of like the placement, I'm going to add 2021 to the sides to hopefully make it look a little bit more centered. Don't know if I actually achieved that, but that was the idea I was going for. Next thing I did was I added a little bit of a white line to the top of each letter with a white gel pen. This part's totally optional, but I thought it would make it look fun and festive. I also added some white gel pen to the confetti dots. It's a little bit hard to see within the new, but then I also add them to the 2021 on the sides, and you can kind of see them there. Okay, and once you're all done with that, you finish the second technique. So let's move on to the last technique, which is the most challenging, but also very fun. So I'm going to start out by drawing 2021 in block letters on a scrap piece of paper. I'm not doing this on the final paper because we're actually going to transfer it there so that there's not so many lines. And you'll see why in just a little bit. So I'm adding a vanishing point to the center right in between the 0 and the 2. And I'm drawing lines extending from every edge and every corner out to the vanishing point. This is going to make it look like the calligraphy is coming out at you. So once I've done that, I'm going to go slightly behind the initial 2 and draw another line to make it look three-dimensional. And here I'm erasing all the extra lines because I don't want to get confused between the lines that I've already done and the lines that I'm doing for the current number that I'm on. Alright, so now I'm gonna erase all of the extra lines that I have, and I'm gonna make the part that I like a lot darker, so that it's easier to see when we start using the transfer paper in just a moment. So now I'm just going over it again, on the tracing paper. Alright, and then to transfer it from the tracing paper onto your final project, you can either use a light box, or what you can do what I did, which is you just tape it up to a window and allow the light to shine through behind it, and then you should be able to easily trace it that way. So once I have everything fully on the next paper, I'm going to do a light outline of where I want my calligraphy to go above it. Next thing I'm doing is I'm erasing the really heavy pencil lines. So you'll see, because I did it quite dark, that even with the erasing you can still see it a little bit. I don't mind it too much with this technique, just because I do kind of like the look of like the sharp lines, so I feel like it helps enhance the 3D effect. But if you don't like the way that looks, feel free to erase it even more, or just go a lot lighter with your tracing. So I'm starting off by making the top 2/3 of each number a light yellow, and then the bottom 1/3 a goldish yellow-orange. Then to blend these together, I'm taking the yellow again and just smudging the line between the two colors, going back and forth to make sure that they blend. I'm going to continue this process on the rest of the numbers. Now for the perspective portion of each of the numbers, I'm going to outline it first with that light orange, and then I'm going to use a darker orange for a little bit of a shadow on the back edges, and wherever I feel like it would fit. Then I'm going to continue coloring in all the 3D portions on the rest of the numbers. Now I'm moving on to the calligraphy on top. I'm using this darker royal blue because I feel like it contrasts very well with the orange in the numbers below. And you can see that I didn't do quite well with the spacing on the top. I made the happy a little bit too big so that the rest of the words become a little bit smushed, but overall I think it looks okay. So next I'm going in with the white gel pen and I'm outlining every edge of the 3D numbers below. I just did this to try to make the different planes stand out from each other. I don't know if it's entirely effective just because white on yellow doesn't show much contrast, but I still think it adds a little bit of something wherever you can see it. And then finally I'm adding a little bit of white gel pen to every upstroke of each letter. Alright, and once you've added all your last minute touches, you're all done. Thank you so much for watching this month's calligraphy techniques video. We really appreciate you joining us, and we would appreciate any feedback you would have for us as well. Be sure to join us next month for another calligraphy techniques video and more fun and inspiration.